Good morning, North America. Welcome to Church Talk TV. Lively talk about life, church, and church life. I'm your co-host, Dr. Bill Tenney-Britton, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-host, Dr. Chris Tenney-Britton, and we're broadcasting from our studio in Columbia, Missouri, the heartland of America. Say good morning, Chris.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Wow, okay. Guess who has allergy issues yet again? Hopefully this will all go away pretty soon, but Bill and Chris Tenney-Britton here to, let's say Bill and Chris Tenney, you get it, you know who we are. We are so excited about being here because today we're talking about how to make the most of networking. And in the words of Family Feud, the survey says most church leaders don't do networking, or at least not very much. And they don't tend to attend community networking events. And, you know, the why is kind of up in the air. The reason might be that they don't see any value in it, or they don't know how to make the most of it, or, and this is what my personal suspicion, is that most church leaders tend to be introverts. And as introverts, they very often don't get out there because they're just uncomfortable to do that networking. So today we have a special guest. We have Tina Cochran of the Sort of Joy Academy. She's a marketing and business coach focusing with and on and working with creative women. We're going to get her to say more about what she does and how she helps women who are creatives get out there and get their wares sold and get noticed and all the rest, all those things that marketing and business coaches do. She'll tell you more. But she's here because she's one of the most savvy networkers I've ever known. She introduced me to networking. She introduced me to how to do networking. And Tina, we are so excited to have you here this morning. Tell us more about Sort of Joy and what you do.
So Sort of Joy Academy is an online virtual academy that we focus on helping creative entrepreneurs, particularly women and women of faith, learn to make friends with sales and marketing so that they can do things like networking. And what we do is help them embrace their faith and the way God designed them, and then match it up with the business skills and relating to sales and marketing so that they can sell things that they create.
Awesome. Thank you. So good to have you here today. And we're going to pick your brain on networking, and maybe you can help some of our pastors and church leaders to get over their fears or get over they just don't know what we're talking about, and help them to get into this. So let me just jump in. What is the point of a church leader going to a networking event or a community event with the intention of networking?
Okay. So first and foremost, let's talk what networking is. Networking is not necessarily jumping to every networking event. Networking is meeting new people, period. End of discussion. So if you've ever been in line at Starbucks and turned around and said, hey, this line is really long, isn't it? You were actually networking. And I heard you say something in the intro that really sparked my interest because I am a flaming introvert. And people always say, no, you're not. But yes, I am. And networking events for introverts are like, chalk fingernails on a blackboard. No, please don't make me have to do it. So if a lot of pastors are introverts, what can be happening is getting completely burnt out energy-wise, and adding anything else social to your life can really make you feel like you're just going to burn out. So what I think, your question about why should pastors attend community network events? Well, here's one main reason is because a lot of pastors are not. So that's where the people are, and a lot of pastors are not going. So you essentially immediately stand out as to, why are you there? And networking events are designed, they're different than a social cocktail party where you have to kind of, dance around. How are we supposed to talk church? Are we supposed to not? Networking events have a specific purpose. It's specifically designed for, I'm coming to meet you and you're coming to meet me, and we're going to talk and see if we need to talk further. So the idea to walk up to somebody and go, hi, I'm Bill Tenney-Britton with Raytown Christian Church, and what do you do, would be weird at your friend's cocktail party. or the Christmas party, but is perfectly appropriate at a networking event. One of the other reasons, as I prayed about this and thought about how what I've seen with the work that you and I've done together as pastors and what has happened because we were in networking events, people are in a place there where they're seeking answers. And if you come and all you want to do is listen, you might find out that they're at that networking event because, oh, I don't know, they've been the primary caregiver for their parents for 4 years. And this is the first time they have ever been out in public in 4 years. And they're terrified. And all you have to do is come alongside and sit and ask questions and listen, which pastors do really well anyway. And next thing you know, they're showing up at your church asking to be baptized, and you didn't even do anything but cared about them.
Wow. Awesome. So where does a church leader find networking events? I mean, most of them aren't doing them. I'm presuming that that there's some way to find these networking events and networking opportunities. And as you get into that, if you'll touch on both offline, which we're back in person now, but there's still a number of pastors who are needing to find ways to network online.
So I would start with your local chamber. If your church or you as a pastor are not a member of your local chamber, that's absolutely where you should start, because the chamber is the hub for all of that locally. But as we expand and go virtual and you're looking to expand online, things like eventbrite.com or meetup.com actually have events all the time. And you can put in different topics. You can just go in and register for their emails, and they will, based on what you've looked at before, send you suggestions.
Awesome. Yeah. So we find an event, but I've never been to an event. Well, I have, but whatever. But some of our viewers have not. So how does a church leader do effective networking? What do they need to do? What do they need to wear? What do they need to take? What just pretend we don't know anything, because most of our viewers may not know much.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Well, I thought of one other place as you were asking.
Okay.
I thought of one other place that would be like really, really critical to find networking events is ask your current members. Which leads to what do you do, right? If you've never been to a networking event, one of the best and most fun ways, and especially for us who are introverts or us that don't think we want to do it, is to go with someone. I like to call it event crashing. It's basically you and your friend are going to an event. And often, if you have people in your congregation who work in the insurance industry or work in financial services, or whatever people are working in are business owners, often those people are already attending networking events.
Yes.
And one of the things networking groups like to do is have their members bring guests. So it might be as simple as raising your hand in a congregation meeting or with some congregation and saying, hey, I'm looking to get out and about in the public a little bit more and get out to some networking events. Anybody know any? And you might find you've got 5 invitations. So when you go to a networking event, what do you do? First and foremost, you must have some kind of business cards, because your job at a networking event is not to go around spewing everything you know about your vomiting on everybody, your knowledge or about your church or anything else. You don't have to do that. Your job is to come there and ask questions, listen to them, and then get their contact information so that you can then follow up with them later to have maybe a one-on-one coffee and have some conversation, invite them to a church event that you're having. And if you have a friend that goes with you, you go together with the purpose of introducing people to each other. So if you and Chris and I were going to an event, my job would be to find people who want to meet Chris and Bill. And so you walk up to someone and you start talking, and the idea, again, there's kind of this drill at a networking event. Hi, I'm so-and-so. What do you do? That's the expectation, right? So I meet Matt. Matt tells me he's a realtor. And so then my next question is, oh, really? have you met Bill and Chris? He doesn't know he needs to meet Bill and Chris. I don't know that he does, but now I'm walking him across the room. Bill, this is Matt. He's a realtor. This is Bill. He's pastor. And then I'm, of course, because I'm a member of this church, I'm talking about how great this church is for business people, right? Which is really rare, by the way. Business people get shunned by churches. One of the reasons my company exists is because we could not find places where we could talk faith and business in the same place and be comfortable. And one of the reasons, Bill, you and I are connected is because you've taught me that, yeah, there are places in the church that do that. Right. So you have this opportunity when you walk into a networking event as a pastor to go, I see you. I see you, not your checkbook. Yeah. I see you. I want to learn about you. And that's an opportunity in a place where, hey, you come into my world. Right.
Awesome. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that people need to avoid when networking? One of the things I heard you say is don't go in and spew it all. So, so you may want to say more about that. But what are some of the other big mistakes that they need to avoid when networking?
Well, another big mistake is talking to only one person. If you go to a networking event, I would go with the intent of have a plan in mind, especially if you're an introvert. So networking for introverts can be like, no, please don't make me. If you're going, have a plan in mind. I'm going to meet 3 people, right? So you want to have the conversation long enough to get to know a little bit about that person, and then to ask for contact information for maybe a follow-up later. And then I always wind the conversation up with, who are you looking to meet today? Because now I'm looking to hand that conversation off. And what tends to be a big mistake, especially I see with, I have some friends who are former pastors who are in the business space, and they do it all the time. They meet one person and they spend the entire time talking to that one person, which is a great conversation, but you've missed the opportunity. It's better to take, in a networking setting, to take the time and go, I really want to continue this conversation with you. You've got your phone, whip it out, set a time to talk later, and then move on to the next person. Otherwise, you miss the 3 people that might have wanted to talk to you.
I remember when you took me out to my first networking events, and they were talking. There was a presentation, and they talked about LinkedIn, and that there's some, and I don't even remember what it is now off the top of my head. It's been 15 months since I've set foot in a networking event, but that there was on LinkedIn, there's a device. If you're both logged in LinkedIn, you go click, and it swaps your information just instantly. And I bet there's all sorts of other programs at this point that do that. So.
Yeah. There are. And there's the old-fashioned business cards. And honestly, business cards tend to be perfectly acceptable at a networking event, and people use them a lot. You will walk into a networking event and they'll be asking for a business card at the front desk because the person coordinating the event wants to get all the contact information. See, the whole idea of a networking event is just to get contact information from each other to find out if we want to talk to you later.
Awesome. So the point is, going back to the very first question we asked, the point of networking is to continue the conversation after the networking event.
Yes, exactly. It's not, you're not there to recruit people and invite people to a certain event. You're there to just meet people. And one of the cool things about being a pastor of a church is that you already have a standing in the community. And it may be a surprise to people. I know in the business community, there can be this idea of the people behind the church walls don't want to talk to us. They don't know what's going on. And so if you're just walking in, particularly like a chamber event where it's specific to the location where your church is, it's getting to know what's going on. You don't know the opportunities that are out there that people are just looking for, that maybe that they have heard, oh, don't ask the church. They don't want you to do anything there. They don't want to deal with anybody unless they're a member there. Right. Awesome. And you might find that the biggest thing that happens is people are like, ooh, that's not what I thought pastors were like. Right. If you think about, sometimes you think about going to a bar, and sitting on and you're going to have these amazing conversations with people who are seeking. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's just a matter of raising your hand and saying, I want to be there.
Yeah. You're making me think that pastors, we like to talk, and when we're nervous, we talk. But as we listen, we also may find other opportunities for our church, not just for us, not just for networking, but what a need is. By listening to one of the somebody who's selling houses, we catch an ear for what kind of houses they're selling, of course, what kind of people, difficulties they're having there, for that future reference.
Yeah, exactly. You get to find out what's going on. I mean, one of the bottom line is, why go to a networking event? That's where the people are.
What a novel thought.
Again, I want to say a word about business cards. As a woman who very few of her outfits have pockets in them, just trying to figure out where to hold my business cards so I can grab them very quickly has been difficult. Do you have any advice?
So one of the women in our academy, one of the things that she makes is a business card purse. It's basically one of these little strap purse, not the great big, the little strap purse that goes across. It's just about the size of, a coin purse, business card size. And we've been asking her to make bunches of these because I think they would be an amazing, profitable business line for her. But something like that. I mean, I used to wear blazers that have pockets in them all the time. But when I didn't, it was, there's also, you can get a phone case that slides open that has a place for business cards in it as well. Great. But the little purse seems to be the best thing to do.
Okay.
I walk around now, I hold I like to write notes. So I hold this kind of like under my arm, and it's got my cards in it as well.
Nice.
So there's different ways you can do that. It's what works, what's comfortable for you.
Wonderful. I want to get that woman's contact information. Great, thank you.
Awesome. And we'll get that contact information and we will put it in the description here. So if you want a business card purse, I guess,
yes.
You can have at it. Tina, anything you want to add to what we've, including like how to get a hold of you?
Yes.
For those who might want to do
my contact information?
Yeah, exactly. Want to do some networking here?
So a couple things is, first, you can find me at sortofjoyacademy.com.
URL's right there on the screen.
Right. And I'm on Facebook. You can also find me at Tina Joy Cochran on LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn. If I could leave with one thought about this is, don't avoid it. Don't avoid the community networking events. Even if you just go to one a quarter, right? Even if you just visit online and watch, right? And the last tip for introverts is go to the networking event and just watch and look for the people on the edges, the ones leaning against the wall, because those are your fellow introverts. And then just walk. Here's what you do. You just walk up to them and you look at them and you say, I hate these things, don't you? Right?
Beautiful.
That's the opening line ever. And there's always one or two. And you become their hero. Particularly if you've come with like Bill, the extrovert, you can go, I hate these things. Have you met Bill?
Almost an evil plan there. Perfect.
Not evil, strategic.
Exactly. Tina, it's been wonderful.
Thank you.
One of the things that we didn't talk about that I want to get you to come back on the show again is to talk about that dreaded elevator speech, because they talk about them in network events and it is not that quick and easy to put it together. And so, and you're really good at it. So get you to come back here in a future event and talk about that. Hey, it's been a joy to have Tina Joy Cochran, the Sort of Joy Academy, with us today. We are grateful for her time. Hey, just a reminder that, one of the realities is that to do network events, you got to get out of your office. And if you want to learn how to get out of your office, let me remind you that the book, Effective Staffing for Vital Churches, has a wealth of information of how you can bail out of your office and still grow your church. So effective staffing for vital churches, you get it on Amazon.com. Tina, it's been awesome having you. Thank you. We're out of time, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good week.